Hey guys, welcome to the final track preview video, or track submission video, I guess. First track is going to be Lutaris GP by Detail, a little extra GP here. And in this video, you're going to see all of the tracks that either weren't completely finished when I recorded the original ones, or maybe they just got started up pretty late. So these are all like the last minute submissions, essentially, is what this video is. So if you already did your votes and you see a track in this video that changes your mind, just let me know so I can update, and make sure that you know which track you're switching out your vote with. So for example, let's say you voted for well, I guess the oval votes weren't open already, so I'll just use ovals as an example. Let's say you voted for Sacramento as the oval, and you want to switch that track out with Clarion. You would just tell me that you want to vote for track number 5 and switch it out with track number 2, or say you want to vote for Clarion instead of Sacramento, or whatever you want. So make sure you know which track you're switching it out with, because if you don't, that's really going to mess up the votes. Hopefully, like, we still have our message history, so it shouldn't be too bad, but again, it's just easier if you know which one you want to switch it out with. So one thing I should definitely say in this video is the amount of votes. So for GP, like I said, it's 5 votes, but the amount of GPs that I'm showing off in this video is 2 extra GPs. And then for oval, it's 2 votes for ovals. And there are 3 shown in this video. There's 5 ovals total, so if you missed it, make sure you look at that RX and oval video from earlier, because that has the 2 original ones. There were 3 extra ones that were finished recently, so make sure you check out this video and that video if you haven't seen all the ovals. And remember, it's 2 oval votes, only 2. Supercross is 5 votes, and there are 13 tracks. In this video, I think... Let me think. Okay, we got 2 Supercrosses in this video. One I showed that was kind of unfinished, and it got finished, so now I'm showing it in this video. And the other one wasn't on Blake's file share, now it is, so I'm showing that one off as well. And then we go to Rallycross. Rallycross, unfortunately, the smallest vote, which is surprising. I wish we had more people forging Rallycrosses, because it's honestly probably my favorite new series on Halo 5, so hopefully next season that kind of boosts up a little bit when we get some more Rallycrosses being forged. I'm surprised there weren't more this season. Anyways, 3 Rallycross votes, and there's 4 tracks, so you're voting for all of them except for one. So just pretty much decide on which one you don't want to vote for RX. And in that RX video, there's 3. In this video, there's 1 extra Rallycross being shown. Let me get my screen back up. Okay, so on screen we have Vulcan GP showing off right now by Opix. The track you already saw, as I said before, was Lutaris GP. So after these 2, these are the 2 extra GPs, and then we'll get into some of the other. I think we're getting into the ovals after this, I think, in the video. We'll see. But yeah, so Vulcan being shown on screen. And in the description of this video, I'm going to have a lot of the information from the original GP track submission video. That's pretty important. So make sure you check the description again, because that's going to have everything. That's going to have the timestamps, it's going to have the submission docs, so you can keep track of the votes, or if you want to like look directly at the track number, the track name, like I said, the votes, any of that stuff, that doc will be in the description as well, along with the timestamps. And on top of that, I'm also going to include some of those important dates that I mentioned in the GP video. I'm going to include some of those in the description, so that way you can kind of keep track of the roadmap of this season. One more thing, which I'm going to do, which I think should be a good idea, is it's unfortunate that it's going to be kind of like raced back to back, I guess. But for the first race for this season, we're going to do formal GP, the newer updated version. The reason why, and we haven't started off with a Grand Finals track before. The reason why we're doing it this time is because of the fact that, like, with the extra track voting time I allowed, that gets us into a situation where there could possibly, like, where we'd be deciding on the track for the first week, like, last second, and you'd only get like a day or 2 of practice, and I think that's kind of unfair. So if I announce formal as the first week now, then everybody gets just about a week of practice, which I think is fair enough. Maybe 6 to 5 days of practice, depending on when this is posted. So I think that's fair enough, and you know, it's unfortunate that it's being raced back to back, but at the same time, Formal, the updated version, is, you know, it's similar in some spots, but it's I'd say just random number. I'd say it's about like 50% difference. So, you know, it's not going to feel like racing the same track back to back. It's definitely not going to feel like that. The new sections are pretty substantial, so I think it'll work out just fine. So yeah, make sure you practice up Formal. The new version, I think it's on details. It should be on his file share. Pretty sure it is. Yeah, it definitely is. So make sure you check it out on his file share if you want to practice up for that. First race is what? May 11th. May 11th. Here we have Bowman Gray Oval on screen by Uncle Blake, more like Bowman Gray. Anyways, we're going on the Clarion Ring here by Opix. Getting through the ovals here. I think there's one more after this, so this oval and then one more. Anything else to say? Well, let's go through the votes. I guess I could show off in this video the current votes, which, by the way, it's not too much of a indicator because the ideal amount of people we'll have that have voted by the end of voting is like, I don't know, probably like 20, honestly. That's probably about the ideal amount, is if we have like 20 or so. So we'll see how that goes. So right now the voting is like 25% done, maybe. And then even then, there's no oval votes yet because, like I said, this video has a lot of the ovals that haven't been shown off yet. So the oval doesn't even have any votes yet. The SX and the GP have about the same amount of votes. And then Rallycross has almost as many people that have voted, done their Rallycross votes as SX and GP. And there's a lot of people that have voted for like one type of track, but they haven't voted for the other types yet. And they're taking their time with it, which is fine, as long as they get their votes in before submission, of course. So yeah, so the votes right now are pretty early. Like I said, I'm projecting that we'll have somewhere around 20 people, hopefully somewhere around 16 to 20 people putting in their votes. It's going to be hard. I'm going to have to badger some people down for that, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, so this will give you a good early indicator, but it's not going to be 100%. The track shown on screen, by the way, I should mention this because it's kind of specific to this track, Brooklands Classic. So the way I understand, the way it was explained to me, and the way I'm running it in the video, how this track works is the little the infield part is for restarts. So when you're restarting the race, you restart the race through that little infield part. And once you restart the race through there, the rest of it, as long as it's green flag, you race around the outside like a normal oval. So that's the way it was explained to me. I hope that's the way it works because, like I said, that was my understanding. So if I got it wrong, Zadi. I don't know, but that's what I was told. So this is the final oval, by the way. This is the final oval being shown off. So after this one, after you watch this, finish watching this, you can decide on your oval votes. Okay, so the top tracks, I guess I could do, because it's 5, yeah, so we could do like the top 5. So the top 5 for GP right now, Beckham and Viper Canyon are tied with 5. Gotti has 4, Concilium has 4, and then we have Kratopolis with 3. So those are the top 5 GPs right now. And then Oval, like I said, no votes for Ovals yet. For SX, the top 5 is kind of weird because the SX votes kind of spread out right now. So the SX, I think the SX is going to change a lot throughout. Right now it's Crimson with 5, Holy Gardens with 4, Houston and Nando with 3, and Tyson with 3. So that's the SX vote right now. I think that one's probably going to switch up a lot just because right now, especially, we have a lot of tracks with 1 vote. We have a couple with 0. And what we've usually seen in the past with SX is that it switches up a lot as it goes on just because, for one, it has, I think, almost the biggest pool. GP has the biggest pool of tracks. So SX has a pretty big pool of tracks, and they're all very, very different and suit different styles of riding, and a lot of people have different preferences for what they for the type of supercross tracks that they like. So I wouldn't be surprised if that category switches up a lot. And then we have Rallycross, which probably won't switch up a lot because it's so like close. I think that by the time we get up to 8 votes, there's probably going to be 3 favorites that kind of just work their way away probably, whereas GP and SX you'll see a lot of changing. Oval, I have no idea how that vote's going to go. So for RX right now, you have Latvia with 4, and then you have Genoa and Treppenwitz, which we're showing on screen right now, both with 3. So that's the top 3 right now for RX. So a little bit about this track right now, because I I got this one done. I've had the idea for it for a while, and I just got it done the night before voting. So this one's just a pretty big rallycross track. I basically tried to make Portugal but better. Yeah, I mean you can tell when looking at it that there's a few sections that are like inspired by Portugal, like pretty similar to the stuff I did in Portugal, just a bit different, a bit better, I think. So that's what I tried to do here, and I tried to experiment a lot too. Like for example, big example coming up on it soon. First little rock section on a rallycross. So I'd experiment with that. So going to be showing this off, do a couple laps to show off the different lines through there, because it's going to be a very tricky one, because you can jump it, but it's very risky. You'll probably die if you try to jump it. At least you'll die so many times that like it's not going to be worth it. And then you have this part is really tricky, that downhill double chicane. I completely schmeezed it that first lap because I was trying to take it full speed. And you can take it full speed, it's just very difficult. But yeah, so those two sections, the rock section and that double chicane, are going to be very tricky. Those are definitely going to be the sections that separate people. Also, something I think you guys may have noticed, decided to experiment a little bit with less rumbles. I think there's only 2 rumble strips on this track, so that was just an experiment. When I was practicing, it was running really well. Actually, I was having really good battles with no rumbles. So, and I'd be curious if we see that for more GPs. And maybe more RXs next season if we see more tracks with less rumbles instead of more, because it could work out really poorly, you know, where everybody's just like running the same line, but at the same time you can gain time without rumbles. You don't need rumbles to gain time. And when I was practicing, I was having just a fine time passing, especially with some of the skill sections. So I don't know. I'll be curious to see if we see more experimentation for that. For maybe a few tracks next season. I mean, obviously this track is the experiment. If it gets in, I think whether people forge tracks with less rumbles is going to hinge a lot upon this track if it gets voted in. So we'll see how that goes. Oh my god, my nose is getting cheesed. Alright, so I already went through the votes. So we'll have a few polls coming up here soon. I don't want to give away what they're going to be yet. I'm busy for the rest of today, so I can't. They're not going to come out today. Chances are they'll probably come out Sunday, Monday, and maybe Tuesday, depending on how many we have. So there'll be a few polls for, you know, potentially different stuff that we could do in Season 7. We'll see how those go. A few cool things planned, so we'll see what people think about that. Also, I'm going to roast some people. The people that vote on the best race poll, and they vote for their best race instead of the best race, like from a spectator standpoint, as it's supposed to be. You guys are redotted, and if I knew who you were, I'd ban you all. Alright, now that that's out of the way, yeah, so we'll have some polls coming up here soon, and they're all going to be based off of, like, I don't know, different rulebook stuff, different race stuff. Like, for example, like I said, I don't want to give any of it away, but I have some pretty cool ideas coming up for Joker usage in RX, and I'm curious to see what people think about that, because there's a few possible changes we could make to the Joker usages that I think would be pretty dope. GP, I have a few ideas for that, for potential rule changes. Supercross probably just remain the same. I don't think there's going to be anything different there. Yeah, I don't think so. And then what do we have? We have Oval, which again, yeah, that Oval will probably stay the same. So nothing there. So a little bit of a tease, probably be some different GP and RX rule changes proposed, and there could be some general stuff as well. God, I don't want to give anything away. There could be some general stuff as well, so we'll see how that goes. We'll definitely see how that goes. Other news going into next season. Hold on, let me check the video again. We a different track yet? Okay, we're almost at a different track. God, I think I put in too much footage for this one, so sorry about that. If you want to timestamp ahead, go ahead. Because I didn't edit it down, I just recorded for all of them, and some of them have a little bit too much footage. Especially, I think Christmas as well, coming up here, also has too much footage, so my bad on that. I just wanted to make sure I show off all the lines on these tracks the best that I possibly could. And you'll see that especially with the last two Supercross tracks. I try to definitely show off as many of the lines as possible as I could on those. But yeah, other cool stuff for next season. We have quite a few potential racers returning, and you know, some that you guys may know about, some that you may not. So that's the cool. That's one cool thing for next season. Is that we have quite a few vets that might return for a full season, might return for a few races. We'll have to see how it goes. But yeah, a lot of that. So And some of you guys may not know about who I'm talking about as well. I know some of them have announced that. I know some people have announced, like Blades said he was thinking about coming back. Pancake made a post as well. But there's a few other people I know about on the down low that might be coming back. So I'll get you a little excited for that. Like I said, with the rule changes, though, don't want to give it away. And are we at Christmas yet? God, still not. I definitely put in too much footage. My bad. What else? What else? That's mostly it. I just want to talk about the next track when it comes up. Yeah, I really just want to talk about the next track. So I already mentioned formal. It should be fine because the track vote will be done like the same day. Yeah, okay. Well, I guess I could look at the schedule for Season 7. Anything different? Hold on. God, my nose action. Alright, there we go. Let me switch up on the schedule, put formal first, because I forgot about that. Alright, there we go. So formal, I just put in the change. So formal is now the week 1 race. So like I said before, make sure you get your practice in on that. And the other the place where formal was is still a GP race. It's just not decided now until the votes are done. Also, I think I mentioned it in the GP video, but like I said, be ready for the Grand Finals vote, because the Grand Finals vote is going to be a lot shorter than the regular season track vote. So make sure you guys are ready for that Grand Finals vote, because it's going to be a little fast. It's going to be a little fast, so you're going to have to be on top of that. But it shouldn't need to be as long, because in theory, people will have watched the videos to do their votes, so they'll be familiar with the tracks that already got voted in. So when they look at them and they're thinking, which track fits in for Grand Finals, it shouldn't take them very long to think of the tracks that they want to put in for that. So it should, in theory, go by a little bit quicker. I think we are. Okay, so yeah, we're at Christmas now. So this is another one out of Uncle Blake. Roman Gray was the other one. So his 2 tracks, they were done, but I couldn't include them in the other videos because they weren't in his files or his bookmarks. Now he included them, so I'm showing them off a little bit here. I already showed off Bowman Gray, a nice little, just a small little, almost like short track oval, kind of like yeah, Bowman Gray is definitely a real life track, so based off of a real life track. Had a lot of fun with that one. I don't know how it's going to run in Halo 5 with a pack, but it looked like it'd be a really fun track on Reach for sure. And then we have Christmas here, which I haven't done too many. Well, I haven't done too many full lobby tests on any of these tracks, to be honest. But yeah, Christmas here. I messed it up. This is a skill section. I didn't realize that. I think it's because he changed up that section a little bit from the last time that I checked out this track a while ago. So I think that's why I screwed up on it. Definitely think he made some changes there. I mean, he's made changes all throughout this track for quite a while, definitely, and he's really been trying to perfect it to try to get it voted in. And yeah, it's pretty cool Supercross. And after this, we'll have one more Supercross coming up, and then we should be done for this video. All the tracks in this video. Trying to show off all the lines here. Take the insides, the outsides. Try to show off as much as I can. Try to take all the lines in the sand section as well. To show you guys all the options. Try to do that the best I can, so that way you get the best idea for the tracks possible. What else? I think I'm almost good here. I'm kind of just cruising until we get to the last track. Let's see. Yeah, I don't really have much else to talk about until we get those polls out. So, because like I said, I don't want to give anything away yet. But I'm getting bored and I don't have much to talk about, so screw it. I'll give away one thing. We'll leave the RX stuff under wraps. All right, we'll release the RX and the potential general rule changes or additions. I'll leave those, but I'm gonna give away some of the GP stuff because I'm bored. And besides, I think some of you may already know about it or know that we've been considering it. So with GP, 2 of them are gonna be on. One of them is gonna be on pitting. So if we did pitting, we'd probably just do it the same way that we did in Halo 4, essentially. The only thing I'd have to decide on is I know when I raced ovals and adrenaline, we would use the actual pit boxes, and I kind of preferred that. But I know ORL used just a blank pit box, which I did not enjoy as much. So if we do pits, then that'll be like the next vote. Is whether people would want to do just the blank pit box or the pit stalls. Personally, I'd prefer the pit stalls because 1, I think it takes more skill. 2, I think it adds more strategy. And 3, I think it's just more realistic, more fun and realistic, more challenging for sure. So that's why I'd like to do that. But there are some advantages to the blank pit box as well. For one, it's easier. It's easier to not have to remember a specific pit. But yeah, so pits is going to be one of the things that we'll vote on, whether or not people want pits in GP. I think it'd add an interesting element. It'd basically be like the Joker usage in RX. So curious to see what other people think of that. And then the other one was on, and people already knew about this because there was a little bit of discussion on it. And the suggestions was cautions on GPs. But if there were cautions on GPs, it would have to be amped up a little bit more than oval cautions. For example, like oval cautions is 2 or more people. GPs would definitely have to be at least 3 or more people, so we'll consider that. See what people think of that. Okay, so now that I brought those up, like I said, I want to leave the RX and the general rule changes under wraps until I announce them. So let's talk about this track for a little bit. So you guys saw this track. This is Tampa Bay SX. You guys saw this in the other video, but it wasn't 100% done. Now here it is 100% done, and there's been a few things changed, and there's been a few things improved upon. For one, there's been a lot of quality of life changes. Like, for example, I made the triple jump back there quite a bit smoother and quite a bit more consistent. I also made the finish line jump more consistent. Still challenging, but more consistent. And I also, you'll see a big change in the first sand section coming up here before the bridge jump. So there's a big change there. And what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to show off all the line options on this track. I think I cheesed this one this time. Yeah, it was my bad on that. So I go back and take it another time and nail it the second time. And the thing with this track is this one definitely does have quite a big skill gap. Like it's I tried to make it pretty hard where you definitely have to throttle control to land most of the parts, and some of the jumps you have to rail the berms pretty hard. So definitely a challenging track, especially the first rhythm, or it's technically not the first rhythm, but I'll just call it the rhythm of the track, based off the real life Tampa Bay rhythm, and I tried to make it as true to that as possible, and it's pretty much the same rhythm. It just doesn't run the same rhythms because Halo, it would be impossible to make that challenging and run the exact same it did in real life. On Halo, it's just impossible. So I made it, it's literally the exact same rhythm, it just doesn't run the same lines because Halo's different. And I tried to show off I showed off the outside earlier. Now I'm showing off some inside lines. And yeah, it's just all about throttle control. Same goes for the sand section, and same goes for the whole track, really. Just a really challenging track, trying to emulate like something like Cobra or something like Salt Lake or East Bay. So I'm just trying to throw some old tracks there that this one was kind of inspired by in a way, with the style of it. So yeah, just trying to be challenging, similar to those tracks. So if you like those tracks, you might like this one. But yeah, we're closing out to the end of the video here. About 30 seconds left. Remember, 5 SX votes, 5 GP votes, 3 RX votes, 2 oval votes. And if you change your mind on anything, if these tracks made you change your mind, make sure you contact me, let me know. Or if you're waiting, now there's no time to wait. You've seen all the tracks, so make sure you get your votes in. No reason to wait now. That deadline comes up pretty quick, so make sure you get your votes in before that, because if you don't, I'm going to be bidsed. I'm going to be really bidsed. So yeah, end of the video there. Looking forward to next season. See you guys later.